Well, with 13 minutes left, I told my team I watched 3 games today. That team's had a 17 to 20 point lead. I guess I shouldn't have said that, but just concerned about that, and give Maryland, give Danny Manning a lot of credit. The job he's done this year and under very, very difficult situation. But I do love a couple of those players, boy. It's Ayala and Fats Russell they're special players, and they kind of seem like special guys. I really enjoyed competing against them the last 2 weeks. And as far as we go, I told my team I thought 85% of that game we played damn good. And they hit some shots early, and we just kind of ground it out. And I think we had 7 turnovers in the last 3 minutes. And I guess, there's no way that I shouldn't take some of the blame for that, because the press offense looked just ridiculous, and we haven't been pressed much. And so I'm going to take a little bit of that and find a way to be positive about the situation. But the 2 guys I got with me really grew up, I thought. Everybody's been, wondering, as Tyson has gotten better and better, and tonight he made some big shots and big plays and guarded Fats as good as you can guard him if he's guardable. And I think we've all been waiting for Max. It's been a tough go for him for a while, for a couple weeks, and every press conference I had, I kept telling you I have faith in him. And tonight he was as smooth and good, and everybody will look at the threes and the free throws. I looked at the rebounding. One thing him and I talked about, he's got to get back to rebounding, because I think it'd make him better, more aggressive. And he had 3 rebounds tonight, and he had more than that, but he had 3 that were in severe traffic late, and I thought that was the difference. So hats off to Maryland. They fought back. Hats off to my guys. We played 85% good. 85 in this league or in this tournament or the next tournament is not good enough.
We'll start off with Matt in the middle, and then we'll go to Chris in the middle.
Matt Sharpman of Detroit News. This is for Max. Talk about that shooting a little bit. Obviously, you see the first few go in. How did that help you? Did it maybe relax you, settle you down? What was kind of going through your mind when those first few were going in?
Yeah, when I made the first few, I felt a lot more comfortable when I was out there. But like Coach said, when I got those rebounds and played as best defense as I could, I felt even better. And I think that settled me in nice and easy. And then you combine that with the made shots. I think that's a good combination that you can have, especially in March. So I felt pretty good out there.
We'll go to Chris in the middle.
Chris Solari, Detroit Free Press. Tyson, first of all, after you got hit in the face, it looked like you were coming out trying to kind of assert yourself. What happened on that play, and then down the stretch, particularly on that last bucket you made? What was kind of your read on it?
When I went up for the rebound, he just came down and his elbow hit me right below my eye, and so I was a little shaken up, but it was fine. The last shot is just something I practice all the time when I'm working out, and everybody had faith in me to take the shot. So with that, it's easy to make those shots.
All right, we'll go in the middle here.
Yeah, question for Tyson. In those last 3 minutes, the struggles to get the ball in bounds. I mean, can you kind of take us through what's going on there, and does that become kind of a mental block? Just to kind of get over and get a good pass in bounds.
They did a good job denying us, everybody, from getting the ball, and we didn't really try to get the ball as hard as we should have. I felt like somebody else could go get it and then get it into me, but I should have went and got it. And then those turnovers, we did so good for the past couple games to not turn it over, then we did it late down the game. So we just got to get better at that.
All the way to the far left.
Graham Couch, Lansing State Journal for Max. On Sunday, whether you were or not, you looked a little more fatigued and you had some turnovers, and you looked more sure of yourselves out of the gate today. I'm wondering what sort of conversations you had, what sort of preparation for this, what sort of mental reset you tried to do before this game.
Yeah, Sunday I looked fatigued because my mental headspace wasn't in the right spot. I had those couple turnovers and my mental headspace went to crap. And so in today's game, I made sure that I tried to stay even-keeled, not get too high, too low mentally, and I think that showed. That's why I didn't seem as fatigued, and I felt more sure of myself on the court.
We'll take a few more for the students. We'll go in the middle to Chris again.
This is also for Max. Those final rebounds that Coach was talking about in traffic, I guess. Is that a will or want to moment when you're going up for those? And then what about when you get to the line there and kind of knowing where the score is at that point?
Those rebounds are definitely a want. They're not just going to come right to you. You're not going to get it when you feel like it, especially at that time of the game when everybody really needs that rebound. Both sides really need it. I just wanted it more than everybody else to get that rebound, and I think I got it those 2 or 3 times. And at the free throw line, I'm confident in myself to make free throws in that situation. I've worked on it for a long time. And so by no means was I not confident in myself or nervous that I was going to miss them. So I knew I was going to make them as soon as I stepped there.
We'll go to Jack on the left-hand side.
Jack Ebling, the drive and press pass. Max and Tyson, they say how tough it is to beat a team 3 times. Did it actually help you a little bit down the stretch, knowing that you had beaten Maryland twice and you'd come through a game almost the same script on Sunday?
I'd say to that question, like you said, it is tough to beat a team 3 times. And I think we did beat them twice, but I don't think we really thought that was a luxury for us. I mean, all 3 times they've come back from a lead that we've had. And so we didn't come to this game overlooking them at all because that's what they did to us, and they did it again tonight. And so I think this built a little bit of toughness and grit in us to make sure that we need to realize that we need to close out these games and really lock in at the end of the game when we have a lead. So like you said, it is tough to beat a team 3 times, but that's something we're capable of.
Last one for the students in the middle on the right-hand side.
Ian Kress, WLNS TV, for both Tyson and Max. When you guys have a big lead and then they come back, just what is the feeling right now after you guys do get the win?
Tyson, you start, and then Max, go.
Well, you got to be happy with the win because you keep playing, move on. We're just not satisfied with it because we had the game in our hands, and then we kind of let it go. But we knew what they were capable of, like with scoring, and we kind of relaxed on defense, and that allowed them to score in bunches like that.
Same thing with Tyson. We got to make sure that we can't let up leads like that. At the end of the day, we're comfortable with the win. Obviously, a win is a win, but it was ugly at the end, and that's something we got to make sure that can happen. That can happen.
All right, thank you, guys. You can return to the locker room.
Thank you.
We'll see you tomorrow. We'll continue with questions for Coach Izzo. Please raise your hand, and we'll bring a mic to you. We'll start all the way in the back corner.
Yeah, Bob Wodowski, Detroit News, obviously for Tom. You just heard the phrase, a win is a win, and this time of year, a win is a win. But do you feel that way right now, that it's a win and that's all you need, or are you feeling something different, maybe angrier?
Yeah, I'm angry. I'm not happy with it. I've been in it long enough to know that a win is a win, and it is advance and move on and all those great things. But it's been a problem, and we haven't solved the problem. We are playing at a higher level, longer periods of time, and we haven't been pressed hardly at all. And I thought, to be honest with you, Tyson got fouled twice on that. Really, really hammered the one in front of their bench, and just kind of everything just kind of goes together. But as I always said, and I think you don't believe this, but I got to do a better job with the press sergeants, my staff. Players got to do a better job, and we got to appreciate that. Even though they scored 20 and 17, I thought Fats and Eric, both, took 17, 16 shots. So I think, our defense was pretty good if they get that many points with that many shots. And we get to that point where we're 20 up and we're in the huddle and we're talking about it, and we come out and make 2 poor shot selections and a poor turnover. And that's kind of a lack of leadership on the floor that we have to continue to build on. And probably we got to do a better job from the bench and really designating those things. But you can't script everything in a game. So angry is probably a bad word. Is that in the vocabulary anymore? Are we allowed to be angry, or is probably not? Somebody will sue you for it. So disappointed, a little frustrated, a little bummed out. And for Tom Izzo, frickin' angry. Yeah, I was angry. I do not accept that. That's not what I should be doing. So I'll go home and tell it to myself, look at the film, and then figure out how to get better.
We'll go to Chris in the middle.
Solari, Detroit Free Press. Tom, in those final 2.5, 3 minutes there, have you had a stretch like that in your career that you can remember?
You know,
where it was
that's
like that.
That's a good question. I don't think I have. It all happened so quick, and I think everybody got caught up in it. Like I said, I thought there were a couple times when Tyson dribbling the ball or the one over his back. I mean, but everybody got caught up, and we didn't do a good enough job. And I think we had 6 or 7 turnovers in that stretch. Does anybody know? You guys are reporters. How many? 7 in the final 226. It's got to be bad coaching. Even a player can't do that. So I'll take some blame for that, and we'll try to do a little better job.
We'll stay in the middle on the left-hand side.
Sean Ryder, State News. Tom, you said on Tuesday that you kind of thought that this current team was maybe one of the most inexperienced in the postseason that you've had in kind of recent memory. What did today's performance and what you kind of saw do to kind of gauge that, what they need to do kind of going forward to kind of acclimate to the one-and-done season and whatnot?
Well, like I said, I think I've had 2 guys that played in this tournament. Really, I mean, Gabe and Markey, and Markey hardly played that. Neither one of them hardly played their freshman year. Their sophomore year, we didn't have it. Their junior year, we had it in front of a bunch of statues, or not a bunch, a couple statues. So this is a new experience, as it is for some other players. But that's where I think the 5th year and 4th year and guys that play a little more. I felt our inexperience showed at times, but I'm experienced and I should be able to do a better job of getting that done. So I got to work on myself too and our staff.
We'll go to Jack on the left-hand side.
Jack Ebling, the drive and press pass. Tom, it was 36 years ago you had a game against Danny Manning. You lost and the clock stopped for 15 seconds. Did it seem like the clock was stopped in that last 2:26?
Yeah, it really did. I remember that like it was yesterday, and I remember Judd and the whole thing. It was an interesting time. The day the clock stayed still, and it did feel like that last 3 minutes was an hour and a half, but it wasn't. And I could argue about some calls or some things, but I can't argue about the clock. So whoever in the hell you guys got here on the clock, they did a hell of a job.
All right, we'll stay on the left-hand side.
Gina Trotman, WXYZ Detroit. I was just wondering when Graham asked you about, or asked Max about his difference between last game and today and his headspace, and you were kind of there smiling and nodding your head a little bit. I was wondering if you could walk us through what you were thinking when he was answering that question.
I'll just say we had a lot of talks in the last 3-4 days, and there's nothing other than my players coming back that excites me more is when you spend time with a kid and you try to walk them through and try to get them to understand that there's a process to this whole thing. And when he's making those free throws, I was smiling. I was just sitting there smiling, saying, you know what? Everybody wants to think of X's and O's and what happens and skill things. Sometimes it just talks. And I appreciate Max. I have stood by Max the whole year because he brings it every day, and fun to see a guy kind of break through. And he did it at 3 levels, He did it at 4 levels. His shooting was good. His defense was pretty good. His rebounding was off the charts. And then the free throw shooting down the stretch. So he did it at 4 different levels, and I'm proud of him, happy for him. I think we got some guys that are growing. Jay Nakins gets no credit here. He played pretty well too. He made a couple of big shots, did a couple of good things defensively, and our young guys sometimes play a little better than our older guys. So we'll have to fix that too.
We'll take 2 more questions for Coach. We'll start with Kyle in the middle on the left-hand side.
And Tom, I had a similar question just about Max. As you mentioned, you kind of really stuck with him and let him know throughout the season, through his struggles, that you wanted him shooting, you had confidence. How important do you think that is in just trying to keep his spirits up to get him through that to where he was today?
Well, I think it gets overblown that coaches can give a kid confidence. I think they can take it away, but I don't know if you can give anybody. You can't jump in somebody's head. You know, what he's got to do and what he did is worked his way through it, but figured out, you know, what is he thinking out there? Is he thinking too much about his shot? You know, he hasn't rebounded very well. That was one of the things we talked about, you know. Not the name drop, but I did talk to Magic yesterday. He called as I got to the, and he talked about our team. He watches every game. I think he tapes them and runs them back. And he just said, you know, if we would get lost in the defense and the rebounding, which is what our program stands for, get our running game going back, get back, everything else will fall in place. So I'll give him a little assist on this thing too. I just felt like Max and I spent some time together. But the confidence is because, as he said, you know, when your head's clear, and this day and age, it's hard to clear your head. You got so many different people coming at you. I think if he learned one lesson, it was keep my army small. You know, the village is parents and staff and himself, and keep the team. And I think that helped him. I really do.
All right, we'll take one last question in the back left.
Sean with the Detroit Free Press. Sorry, Tom, to stay with Max, but he didn't shoot for a bit. He focused, it seemed to me, on rebounding and defense, and when he finally shot, I think that first three was sort of a knuckleball. The next one, he goosenecked and it rotated. It was as smooth as I think we've seen in a while. Was that part of the plan, part of the talk, to have it, let it come to him a little bit, not force any contested shots early?
Yeah, I think sometimes when you do force shots that Michael Jordan would have a hard time making, then you lose more confidence, you know. And but you got to love Sean. He's a reporter that still wants to be an AAU coach, and he gooseneck, and you got all the terminology, rotation. But I think you're right, you know, and those were pretty shots. And give AJ credit too; he hit him on a couple of them. I still think we got to get him more shots, but he got to the free throw line more. He just did some great things. I'm telling you, all in all, Marcus, when we got him the ball inside, he did that first jump hook, and he hit a couple other ones. Julius, same thing. The turnovers have been what's kind of hammered this team all year, and they reared their ugly head late in that game, you know, and really, I mean, we got to do a better job with the press offense as a staff, and they got to do a better job executing it. So we'll go to work on that. We got a nice taped down area in our nice hotel, and we got room to have a full court scrimmage tonight, so maybe we'll get after it a little bit and have some fun and be ready for the Badgers.